Well, while the trial of self-confessed mass killer Anders Breivik continues, there are fears last year's massacre in Norway might one day be repeated in other European countries. A UK anti-fascist group has warned his anti-Islam rhetoric could be inspiring extremist followers worldwide, and more must be done to stop it. And in Britain, which has a number of towns considered hotbeds of the far right, the trend is especially worrisome. RT's Ivor Bennett explains.
This is Luton, what's considered the breeding ground of far-right extremism in the UK. It's home to a large Muslim community, but also home to the English Defence League, who are now considered one of the most dangerous groups of the global counter-jihad movement. It started as a gang of football hooligans, and in just 3 years its ranks have swelled to more than 70,000, all united against what they call the threat of Islam. The same ideology inspired Norwegian mass murderer Anders Breivik, and now it's on the rise. According to a report by a UK anti-fascism group, a worldwide counter-jihad network has surged since Breivik's attacks, with over 100 far-right groups in Europe alone. It names EDL leader Tommy Robinson a key figure.
At the end of the day, they're just some far-left organisation who are getting paid to say things like, when we express how we feel, we're called far-right extremists.
So you say you're not far-right?
Well, I'm not far-right, no. I'm not far-right in any way. None of my views are far-right. Far-right, Islam is far-right. Islam needs to be criticised. It's responsible for 18,900 terrorist attacks since September 11th. We're on about one here, one man.
Breivik praised the EDL in his manifesto, calling them a blessing. Campaigners fear these views could inspire a similar attack in Britain if the government doesn't crack down soon. Matthew Collins is a former far-right fascist who's now switched sides.
We've been on at the government for 2 years, specifically on the EDL, to say you must view the EDL as we do the radical Islamist groups. The problem is that they inspire people, they organise people, they fill people's head up with nonsense. There are people in the EDL who actually do think they are some kind of religious crusaders. Often extremist groups can be the trigger for somebody to do something quite unpleasant and quite nasty.
Britain's considered a hotbed of far-right extremism, with 16 anti-Islamic groups operating here. The report classes the British Freedom Party as one of them. Its chairman, Paul Weston, was another cited by Breivik, highlighting a blog that claimed the West is fighting a European civil war against Islam.
I'm not saying go out there and commit violence. And the most astonishing thing about this for me is the whole Breivik thing has been picked up on by the media, with no documentary evidence of any so-called right-wing movements saying go out there and shoot people. Whereas when the Islamic attacks
but it's clear that your blog posts acted as an inspiration to him, amongst several other ones.
These are simply, they may well be an inspiration to him, but we cannot we cannot say nothing simply because there might be some lone psychopath somewhere in Europe.
Groups like the British Freedom Party and the EDL still aren't considered far-right or extremist by the authorities. The two recently joined forces and plan to run in the next round of local elections. The worry for anti-fascist campaigners is that they could attract support. Ivor Bennett, RT, Luton.